Hey guys, welcome to episode 23 of the Blue Sky Lounge, a Disney Imagineering podcast. I am your host, Tyler Iantkow. Now, the Blue Sky Lounge is a community where people can come and share their blue sky ideas for anything Disney. Whether it's a new ride concept, resort, or even a bathroom idea, we want to hear about it and discuss it. You can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, or you can even watch it on our YouTube channel. If this is your first time listening or watching the show, welcome. Go back and view our past episodes on YouTube, or if you have any ideas on future shows, we would love to hear from you. Now, our guest this week is Laura. She and I had a great discussion about what we would like to see if there was an Indiana Jones land to be built in the Disney parks. Please welcome Laura to the show. All right, well, today we have Laura with us. Laura, how are you doing today?
I'm excellent. How are you, Tyler?
Very well, thank you.
I wore my hat.
I see that. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got my son's snake here, so.
Love it. Perfect.
All right, so let's get into this week's episode. I gave you the option of picking a topic, and you chose Indiana Jones.
Dun, 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 dun,
Exactly.
dun.
So, first of all, Indiana Jones was bought when Disney did the Lucasfilm deal a few years ago. So let's first of all get into your Disney story and what Disney means to you. And obviously Lucasfilm is a big thing for you as well. So tell us about that and how you kind of got into Lucasfilm films.
I think Disney first, as I'm 34. I was born in the 80s. That was, we had VHSs. That was the majority of our VHSs was Disney movies. So I grew up on, as I'm sure you did, a lot of people did. That's why we love Disney, on, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, like that. Those were my role models. And so I was born and bred to be a Disney fan, which also kind of attributed to my adventure. Like I'm such an adventurer, and there's a deep value or belief inside of me that's like, life is for adventure because all of these people went on adventures, So that's the Disney side. Lucasfilms, Star Wars obviously came out in the 70s. And so that was something that was already kind of vintage to me. But I watched episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and then obviously the new trilogy as well in its inception and as it went down. And I might be one of the only people who I didn't mind episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. I love Liam Neeson. I love Natalie Portman. And it's a story, it's an origin story, and origins are always dark and troubled and, conflict based. And I do like that they started as a kid. So Star Wars was always, and I think a huge part of the reason that I was a Star Wars fan is because my brother was a Star Wars fan. So my brother was my hero growing up. And so I was like, cool, like I want to be a part of this too. And then, I find there was nothing like it at all, and even as far as like all of the different species in the clubs and Jabba, and, for me too, I've always had this innate belief in the power of manifestation and magic and good. And so that was kind of taught me that I was right in that like good prevails, and, we have power inside of us that we can use for good. So that's what really drew me to that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Indiana Jones is just a badass.
Indiana Jones was, I think he was my first crush, Harrison Ford.
All right,
and I'm such an adventurer. Like at heart, I want to kill zombies, have maps, find treasure, ride horses, You know, like I'm legitimately the kind of girl who I probably have about 6 capes that I wear on a regular basis. You know, I'm like, come on, guys, let's go.
Yeah.
So Indiana Jones like hit all those bases for me, and the whole hidden treasure thing was just, you know, it was an adult version of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was also really young when the Temple of Doom came out, and I was super young.
Mm-hmm.
It was fascinating to see that.
Yeah.
Hold on one sec.
Sure. All right. So I asked you to come up with, you know, attraction ideas or restaurants or anything that you could come up with. And I wanted you to paint a picture for us. So I am going to say ladies first.
Great.
Chivalry is not dead. And you are my guest. So please go head on first and let us know what you want to build, what you want to see for an Indiana Jones thing.
So I went on the original Indiana Jones ride
Mm-hmm.
years and years ago, and I remember loving it. So I would definitely want to keep that in. So my idea would be to create a land.
Okay.
Indiana Jones land. So you start, and it's funny because the movies aren't actually chronological.
Mm-hmm.
So the temple is a prequel. It takes place in like 1935.
Yeah.
And the first one, Raiders, takes place in 1936.
Mm-hmm.
But I would want to start, and a lot of people don't know that because there's no need for it to kind of be chronological. Like you don't see any really back and forth like that. And it's so close in time that you would never really notice.
Mm-hmm.
So I would want it so that you walk in, it would be a full land. You would walk into a jungle and you're given a passport, and it takes you through the 3 movies and the 3 adventures that you're going to have to reach the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you divide into teams. If you're with your family, you and your family are a team, and you're there to solve problems and get to the next movie ride.
Okay.
And so I would want to start with the traditional ride to just like get people excited. You don't want to get rid of that. So you just start with the traditional ride, and then you stop. And then there would be a whip swing to the other one. So there would be a bunch of foam on the bottom, like a really little drop. And you could, because that's as soon as the ride ends, that's in the movie, that's where he's like, the guy's like, give me the idol. And he's like, give me the whip. And he's like, the idol first. Yeah. And then he literally whips it and swings it across.
Yeah.
And I think that would be really fun if you got an opportunity to do the whip swing.
Yeah.
A lot of my ideas are very physical, because I think that there's a niche market for teenagers, young adults who want to be a part of it. You know, like I remember the first time I ever did a escape room, and I was like, oh my God, if this had an obstacle course, I would be a Olympic athlete in this because I had so much fun. So I would want a little bit more interactive. Okay. So you do a whip swing, and then you go to the next part. And if you did the whip swing, you could earn your hat. And there's an opportunity there. Like I went to the Harry Potter place, and there was an opportunity in there when they did wand training where they immediately sold you a wand. And I was like, this is a great opportunity to like get a little hat stand going, and you could sell people hats that they could wear for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And then so it would bring you to a big sandbox, like a huge adult-sized sandbox, where you dig for clues that will take you to the next part. Yeah. So this is Tanis. So this is the map room. Yeah. So there's the little tiny city, and you have the Staff of Ra with the crystal on top that the light shines through and shows you exactly where the Ark of the Covenant is. Yeah. So you and your team are digging for clues, and you'll be like, oh, look, here's the crystal at the top of the staff. We're looking for the staff. Let's find the staff. Oh, here's the staff. Where do we have to put it? Yeah. Oh, we can probably put it right here, but there'll be like a fake one. And then you're like, no, the sun doesn't shine through it. So it has to be over here. Yeah. And then once you get through that, you go into a snake pit. And it wouldn't actually be a snake pit, but it would be like, I was thinking probably lights on the floor with like some movement on the floor. Okay. A little bit. Maybe some animatronic snakes. Yeah. But it would be like high enough. Maybe you would kind of see it down below. Yeah. And then like walk along the walls or something. Yeah. But you'd need to figure out how to exit it, like an escape room. Mm-hmm. So there's like clues on the walls. You're like, oh, this this is a fake door.
Yeah.
This is hollow. Something's behind this. And then you can go through that. And then it would bring you to the mountaintop where the Ark of the Covenant gets open. And at that point, you're done. You're done with the raiders. You gotta keep your eyes closed, but everyone's gonna peek, because who doesn't peek? Right. And so you're like, and then you'll see the same thing that they saw in the movie with all the lights and opening the Ark.
Yeah.
And there'll be wind machines.
Yeah.
And then you come out on the other side. And once you're done with the Raiders section, there's an opportunity, if you don't want to go into the temple section, you could just go ahead to the restaurant or whatever. But if you want to, you get your passport stamped. You're like, you got through here, good job.
Yeah.
And then you're going into the temple. Now this I'm really excited about. I recently got what's called an Oculus. It's virtual reality.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that before. My boyfriend had got it, and I was like, yeah, babe, looks great. Good job. And then I went in, and I was like, I did not know technology could do this. I was so full of wonder and amazed what that would do.
Yeah.
And so I would want to do all of the temple in virtual reality. Have a room that you could interact with. They have stuff like that in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And you put on your virtual reality and you walk into a temple immediately. And you start in, people don't know this, but the club that Willie sings in, right off the bat, it's called Club Obi-Wan, which I love. I think that's fantastic. And then there's the getaway car where you meet Short Round. And so you can get into a physical car, but you have the VR on.
Yeah.
And so the car is moving up and down and you're whizzing by everything in virtual reality. And then, because the movie is so physical, a lot of it is because immediately you get into the plane, and then the driver of the plane takes a parachute out, and you're like, oh my God, we're gonna crash. And they get into a raft, and they're falling from the sky in a raft, which they do in virtual reality so well that I literally felt nauseous. There was this one part in virtual reality where I was like, I need to get out of here. This is too real. And so I think it would be great you take the raft, and then the raft immediately goes into the water. And then you start to see the villagers.
Yeah.
Then you meet the elders. They tell you about the children missing.
Yeah.
And then you go and you have dinner with them. And we'll talk about dinner later in the restaurant.
Okay.
And then you hear Willie calling for help, and you go into Willie's room, and then you get trapped in that enclosing space. And I think in your team, in some people's VR, they're in the room and it's enclosing on them. And in some people, they're on the outside, like, oh shoot, I have to get you out of this room. And they're like, how do I do it? And there's a wall, and it can be a tactile wall that they have while you're still in virtual reality, and you press it and find the part to open and stick your hand in, and it could be the gooey stuff that Willie has, which is funny because she had to be on sedatives while filming that because she was literally covered in head to toe bugs.
Yeah.
And then once the person gets you out, pulls the lever and gets you out of there, that's when you see the actual temple for the first time, and when the guy gets his heart taken out.
Yeah.
And I think we need to G it down a little bit. So,
family oriented.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe just get someone in a cage and have them falling into the fire a little bit, oh no, I'm falling into the fire. And then maybe another person in your team or family could pull you out with a rope in virtual reality. And then you find all the stones and put them into that little face thing. And I think you could do the whole thing in virtual reality, which I love that idea. And then you return to the village, and all the kids return to the village, and then you're done with the temple. And then you get your passport stamped, and you go to the Last Crusade. And so the last movie, which is my favorite, I love Sean Connery. I love their relationship and their dynamic. And my boyfriend is actually a junior. His dad's senior, he's junior. So often I'll be like, Junior, Junior, Junior. Because Sean Connery is just the best. He's so funny. He's so enigmatic. And I think this is a really good opportunity for an obstacle course because it's already, the movie sets us up. There's a diary, there's a map in the diary, there's a treasure hunt. You start with Donovan, you know, where he shows the cracked shield, you know, with the rubbing, and you can do a rubbing in your diary just right then and there. So in the last leg of my indie land, it would be this huge obstacle course with the diary. And so after they meet Donovan and they take the rubbing, they go to see his dad, and his dad's apartment is ramshackled. And you're looking for clues. You're like, what happened here? What happened here? And so you and your team can go around and find out, well, here's a plane ticket. What is this plane ticket for? Oh, it's for Italy. We have to go to Italy. So then you make plans to go to Italy, and then you meet Dr. Schneider, Elsa, and then you go to the library. And in the library, they have like the letters 3, 7, and 10. And I would love it if you could make it like in the movies when we have to break glass, they use sugar. They use like sugar glass. And so you punch it and you break it and it just breaks. And it would be so cool if you could do that with the floor. Because I remember in the library, he takes the partition and he's banging on the ground. And the librarian is like checking out books, and she's like, phew, what is with this stamper? And it's like making all these noises. I think it would just be so cool if you could legitimately put some like sugar glass or something on the floor that you could break through, and everyone could go down into the tunnel. And there would be the rest of the shield of the soldier, and then they turn the tomb over as the rats are coming. They actually had to breed 2,000 rats for that scene, specifically for this, because if they used regular rats are full of diseases. So they like commissioned breeding 2,000 rats just specifically for this scene, and they had to insure them. So they insured, because the rats were so expensive to do this, they insured 1,000 of them just in case. So if something happened to the rats, they could get their money back.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it's so weird. And then so you go to the tomb, you find it, you find the second marker, and then there's the mechanical boat chase. So I think it would be really fun because there's a mechanical boat chase, and there's the scene in the plane where Senior Henry like shoots the wing of the plane off. I think it'd be really easy to create like a mechanical boat that you're zipping through, and a mechanical plane that like one of your buddies is in the back like shooting these people. It's like a game, right? Like in a game room with screens. And then there's the whole, once you get to the temple, there's, you know, only the penitent shall pass. There's all of those obstacles that Indy himself goes through. It's like, you know, you have to like duck. It's, you know, it's not like we can put razor blades in there and have those whipping all around, but you can duck, dip, dive, dodge, and duck like something else. That would be really easy. And then they have to figure out the like word puzzle on the floor when they're like, Jehovah doesn't start with a J, it starts with an I. What I'd really love to do is to create something that actually looked like an invisible bridge. I was thinking about that. I was like, I don't know how you could possibly do that. Because I use that as like a metaphor in my real life all the time. Like, be like Indiana, faith. You just have to take the first step onto the invisible bridge. I really love that idea. And then the big finale would be obviously picking out the proper Holy Grail. So, you know, there's all of the cups, and you're like, which one is the carpenter's cup? And so you'd have to figure out exactly which one that was. And then that would take you to the end of it. And then once you got to the end, then you would open up into like the restaurant and the gift shop. And then I think it would be really easy to kind of create like a stage where you could do karaoke with Willie.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And like learn the choreography. I know that she had so much choreography that she was so excited to do, but she couldn't do it because her dress was so tight.
Oh no.
I know. So they had to like alter the original choreography for her. So I think that would be fun. And then in the restaurant, you would have all the like gross delicacies. I know that when they actually fed everyone monkey brains, it was just custard and raspberry sauce.
Yeah.
So that would be a good one. And they have like the eyeball soup and the rattlesnakes that you could serve in the restaurant. They actually don't eat any delicious food. I was thinking about all three movies and like the most original, the most like easy thing that they eat is like apples.
Yeah.
You know, because they go to the village and they're like giving like them paste bugs on it. And I'm like, I don't think I've seen any of these people actually eat any food.
Yeah.
So it would have to be all like really weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's a huge market of things that you could do for the gift shop. Like there's obviously the hat and the coat and the whip, but there's like all of the costumes that the women wear, like Marion's white dress in the first one, all of Willie's outfits. Elsa was the queen of hats. She had so many interesting hats.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. You could do like a small Ark of the Covenant. You could do like a Staff of Ra in the gift shop. I think that would be really cool and really easy.
You could dress one of your kids as Short Round.
Totally. Get a treasure map. That would be great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And that is my land.
I love that. I
Me
think
too.
that is so cool. I love how in depth you went and how you literally like went from movie to movie to movie, and it's like you said, it's like you're Indiana Jones. You're going through the whole thing yourself, and I think that is really cool. Because I know when I was a kid watching Indiana Jones, I'm just like, oh, I want to be Indiana Jones. I want to do these things. Like I remember in Last Crusade at the very beginning when it shows like young Indiana Jones and he's like running away from the treasure hunters and he gets onto the circus car and he's going
with the
through
snakes and the
like,
lion.
Yeah, and that's when he gets his like first whip kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, like I want to do that. That would be a lot of fun kind of thing. And it'd be terrifying, but it would be fun.
I also think it's important as amusement parks get older, we have other things. Like this morning I virtually did the original Indiana Jones ride on YouTube just to like remind myself. And there's so much more you can do. Like I think being interactive and getting people like a map and a passport and having them have like a escape room element or like an obstacle course element. Like I think that, you know, the whole amusement park thing is wonderful, but to have so many different aspects of it that like is learning and interactive, and you could do like for smaller kids, like the sand pit where they're digging, you know, he's an archaeologist, you know, I think that that's such an interesting thing that hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I completely love those ideas. I think it's a lot of fun for sure. I know when I was thinking about things, the first place that my mind went was a restaurant similar to yours, and you know I was thinking about like especially the food that they had in Temple of Doom with the
Maharaja,
the monkey braid, and everything like that. I was just thinking like how much fun it would be to have like a bowl come out shaped like monkey brains and have it be like, you know, like strawberry yogurt or something.
I would love it.
Or like a gelatin type.
Yeah, it would have to be gelatin.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot of fun, and you know, just all the different things that you could do that push the boundaries. And like especially with a themed restaurant like that, it really allows chefs to expand their minds and think okay, like, you know,
play
monkey brains, what are we gonna do for this? Like what can we obviously
eyeball soup
hold? Yeah, right. Like what are we gonna make for eyeball soup? Make sure that you have like on the menu it's like has a complete description of like everything. The other thing that I thought of that would be really fun, I don't know why, I just thought it would be really cool to like theme like an Indiana Jones restroom, like bathroom area. So like for turning on the water, you could have like handles on the wall similar to like the handles that
the lever in the second one. Yeah.
And you just do that, and then like the water would come down like a bamboo trough kind of thing, and it would like come out into the sink, and that's how you would wash your hands. And
It
like,
gives you such good like architectural freedom a little
right,
bit with the
yeah,
like there's so many like trick doors or like,
yeah,
trap doors or like I said earlier, I'm like, this is a false wall. It sounds hollow in here, and figuring
yeah,
out how to go in through there.
yeah. Well, that was a great description. Is there anything else that you thought of?
I gave you all my gold. That's all I
was gonna
got.
say that was good.
I
You
got
covered
4
pretty much
pages.
everything. You covered everything. So
Thank you for having me.
thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I loved this episode so much, and I am so happy that you managed to make some time to come on with us. And I really hope that you can come back on again. We'll talk maybe Star Wars next time.
I would absolutely love that. Thank you so much for having me, Tyler.
No problem. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Enjoy this beautiful day.
Thanks so much, Laura. We'll be right back. Enjoying your time at the Blue Sky Lounge? Be sure to check out our TeePublic store. Show your fandom of thinking, dreaming, believing, and daring yourself to use your imagination. Our store features adult and kids apparel, face masks, housewares like mugs and pillows, tech cases, and much more. To find your design, follow the link in the description below. See you there. Plus, there's a sale going on this week. From April 22nd through 24th, you will receive 35% off everything in the store. Remember just to follow the link in the description down below. Welcome back. Now this week we had people swinging into action to give us ideas for Indiana Jones. First off, Shelby from our last episode suggested an inflatable raft idea based on the sequence from Temple of Doom that would be put together as a simulator similar to that of Star Tours. How much fun would it be to be in a raft type ride where you're sliding down a snowy mountain in an inflatable raft? The nice thing about doing it as a simulator is that you can have a high turnaround for guests as they go through the ride, similar to that of Star Tours. It would also be cool if the simulator could pivot in the middle, so that just like when you're rafting, like whitewater rafting or anything like that, and you go over a little bit of a bump in the river, you're going to have the first part of the raft dumped down before the second part comes down. So if you could have a pivot in the middle and you're going over, let's say, a rock on the mountain, if you're going down on an angle and you hit a rock, the first part of the raft is going to come up and then it's going to pivot down. So you have the pivot in the middle to help the motion of the raft seem more authentic. I think that would be a lot of fun. Now, Shelby also had an idea of having a bar where you can order a drink and they come in the different chalices, like those from the Last Crusade movie. Now, I just hope that I don't end up like Donovan after I have the drink. Now, our friend Sarah had a similar idea as well, saying that she would like to have a monkey head drink. Now, I love both of these ideas. I love Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar in Disney Springs in Walt Disney World in Orlando. The fact that Indiana Jones bar is themed after kind of a very secondary character in the movies that you don't really hear much about is such a unique concept. But I do like this idea of having, maybe like a temple-themed bar or an archaeological site-themed bar where you can go and order these drinks based on different parts of the movie, like, the monkey's head from Temple of Doom or the chalices from the Last Crusade. And not only that, but the bar itself could have secret doors similar to like that one in the Skipper Canteen in Magic Kingdom. You could have different rooms that maybe themselves have their own separate bar, which could have their own separate drink menu. So a secret room could have a secret menu of drinks. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you ladies offering that suggestion. It was a really great idea, so thank you very much. Now, Sarah also had another idea for a runaway minecart roller coaster from Temple of Doom. I love this idea. In Disneyland Paris, there's actually an indie coaster, Indiana Jones et le Temple du Péril, or Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril. I have had a chance to go on this coaster quite a few times, actually, and it is a lot of fun. You can see the concept for it is right up here. Basically, it is a runaway minecart that goes through the Temple of Peril. It does have, loop-de-loops and things like that. It is a very fast roller coaster, and it's a lot of fun. And I think that if there were to be an Indiana Jones land or area built in a Disney park anywhere else, I think you could easily take that ride and put it into the new land. It would fit very well and be a very easy way to do it. Plus, who doesn't love a fast minecart ride? I know 7 miners that do. Now, at walk_Disney World suggested on our Instagram post to have some photo ops of different scenes from the movies. Now, this is a really nice laid back idea. There are so many cool things to take photos of in Disney. I especially like it when Disney makes special photo ops for special occasions where you can go up and just, interact with the pop-up photo stand. But for this, I envision something inside a building or a soundstage type of area. Someplace big where you can put, 3 or 4 different photo opportunities, and you can go to each one almost as if its own separate attraction, but you could have those special unique photo opportunities. But not only that, I also envision it kind of to be like those old-timey photo booths that you see in fairs where you can dress up and then be in the scene. So for this, you would get, an indie outfit. You could grab that leather jacket. You could put on the indie hat. You could have the whip. And you could, get on a motorcycle and sit next to your partner. So I really like this idea, walk_Disney World. I think it's really cool, a really neat idea. And it provides that kind of cool souvenir. I really like that idea. Thank you so much for suggesting that. Now, Jennifer suggested a water park would be amazing. Make it like a jungle, have a lazy river where you have no idea what's around the next corner, rope swings, rickety bridges, and a crashed plane. Now, Jennifer, I think this is such a cool idea. When you suggested this, I immediately envisioned something like the Jungle Cruise, where you have that as your lazy river, and you can go through into a temple and not know what's going to be in the temple or around the next corner, like you said. I envision tons of rope swings going into this big giant pool, rickety bridges going over top of both the lazy river and maybe parts of the pool as well. I think a crashed plane would be a really cool thing to have. Maybe you could have some of the water slides coming out of the crashed plane to make it look as though you're sliding through the plane itself, almost similar to Summit Plummet at Blizzard Beach in Disney World. I think that would be a lot of fun. So Jennifer, thank you so much for suggesting this. I think it's a great idea. And that's a wrap for this week's show, and a huge thank you to all of you who submitted ideas. Now, if you enjoyed this week's show, please leave a comment down below. We would love to hear from you. And if you want to leave your idea or opinions for a future show idea, leave a comment on our Facebook community or Reddit pages. The links are listed also in the description down below. And feel free to contact me at theblueskylounge@gmail.com. We're also on most social media platforms by searching the Blue Sky Lounge. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and please share the show with your friends on social media. Also, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. We'd love to hear your reviews and see what you guys are thinking of the show. Now, please note that the Blue Sky Lounge is not affiliated with the Disney Company in any way. This is a fan-run show featuring fan ideas and artwork that is in no way any true representation of what may or may not happen in the Disney Company in the future. And thank you so much for joining us here this week on the Blue Sky Lounge. And just remember to think, dream, believe, and dare yourself to use your imagination. Who knows what kind of blue sky thinking you can do from your armchair. Thanks.